Hello and welcome to Sim.bc, where right now is 10 past 1 in the morning and I'm joining you with a cup of green, but that's not the only thing that I'm joining you with. I'm also joining you with the realization, I'd say, of that this is my 350th daily uploaded video. Now that's a confidence booster for someone who didn't think he was going to make it past 5 videos, and when I did, I most certainly didn't think I was going to make it past 10, and after that 25 was a milestone, and then it sort of went like that up until 200, maybe 250 I'd say. 300 was a bit of a stagnation, and I'd say that this is following that sort of stagnation, even though huge confidence booster, we're closer to 365 than we've ever been bloody before. Am I right, people? It's exciting that we're so close to that milestone. But generally, when it comes to putting out videos, I was fairly certain for a while that I was going to maintain that daily upload schedule no matter what was thrown in my general direction. However, what I wasn't aware of at the time when I sort of made this little prediction at video 300 was things like graduation, the exams week, and 2.5 months by now worth of good old-fashioned, old reliable work. And let me tell you, working at the side of your studies like 15 or 20, 30, even up until like 50%, that's one thing. Taking on a job that sometimes make you work full-time in a week, whilst you try to maintain other hobbies, social life, sleeping enough hours, actually getting in some intuitive work, and doing a side project, which this is in comparison to work, that's a whole other story. I wasn't sure I was gonna make it there for a while. I mean, especially when I was sick. That also happened now. Like the first time I've been really sick ever since I started this channel. And wow, did that have an impact. For the first time in like my entire career of doing this, or however you want to say, I actually made some preemptive videos because I wanted to edit them, you know, a bit better and actually look into that. Turns out I was so sick that I just ended up posting them anyway. I think it's somewhere along the lines of video 340-ish, somewhere along those lines. Anyway, it was the imagination project. It was a mess, basically, right, is what I'm trying to say. It's what I'm trying to tell you. But we made it here. We are here at video 350, and it's an astonishing time to be alive, isn't it? No, but I'm not going to exaggerate too much about the milestone that this is. Surely I'm going to acknowledge it. It feels like I'm talking about my graduation, right? How I'm just seeing this as a milestone and a stepping stone in a much further, so to say, goal, which is 365 in this specific moment. And since I am so close to 365 and I won't have any other sort of milestone videos up until then, I thought, why not try and make a big deal out of this? So I would start thinking about different ways I could celebrate it before 365, that we so close, 350. After all, it's almost a year of daily uploaded scheduled videos, where the focus of the channel has been changing a lot. Instead though, I made that into an entire video project, a sort of a short video series of 7 videos that are going to go out from 360 up until 366. And yes, that is 7 videos, because 360 is also counted as a video, so 360, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will become 7 videos. Now that was the most and best intuitive way of showing that. However, something that I thought was sort of interesting and that I might be reminiscing in a future video as well in that sort of video project is that the focus of this channel, right, has been dramatically changing over the last couple of, well, of the last year. And there was a very distinct change in the beginning. I was thinking about doing a company on the side and sort of about vlogging about the production and how I went about creating the company, which worked for about, I'd say, 1-2 months, something like that, before I dropped that point entirely and I was, you know what, let's just focus on YouTube. And then I was focusing a lot on business, because I like business. Generally, I was going to school, I was getting taught stuff. I thought, this is actually stuff of value that I can sort of put my own spin to and show off my own perspectives on these particular issues, or in this particular, what you would say, obstacles, problems presented to me in school, and we can try and discuss that. Sort of two birds, one stone, because I was studying at the same time when I was doing the videos. Even though, or rather simultaneously, as I thought I was actually making something worthwhile watching, because after all, that's what you have to keep in mind, right? If you're going to put something out online, make sure that you put something out that would be worthwhile watching for yourself. Which, to a certain degree, I would argue that I've done, even though there are videos where I can acknowledge that if only I wouldn't have made myself let's say, chained to this daily upload schedule, there are some of those videos that I would have liked to not upload, so to say. Not just because they're bad, because they're inconsistent in their reasoning as well. Anyway, talking about inconsistent reasoning and inconsistent planning, after talking about business, I was like, why not try and talk about psychological controversies? Because I like that as well. And that turned into a lot of critique towards society. And then came the most apparent change, probably. It wasn't that apparent, it was a gradual change. But it was a change, to say the least. It was a change to be reckoned with. And that was, I started to, and I've only seen this in hindsight, really. I started to see that I have put out a lot of videos of what I deem to be aspects of how to be a decent human being. Such as, racism, it's bad. Sexism, it's bad. Dictatorship, it's bad. Hating other people, it's bad. Forgiveness is the way to go. And all of those sort of good things that I generally think are, just good approaches towards being a well-rounded, decent human being. Not even decent, actually, but just even an awful human being shouldn't be acknowledging and cater towards racism. That's my point of view, right? That even a bad person probably shouldn't have anything to do with racism or sexism. So a decent human being should generally be placed above that, I'd say, because it's so obvious that that is bad, that it shouldn't be taken into consideration, even at someone who you would consider to be a bad person. Now, that's my point of view. Sorry, I have a bit something in my throat. Haven't really recovered yet. But that's the problem when you're entitled to a physical work where you sometimes have to actually bloody move. Your body don't have the time to actually relax and get fully healed, so to say. Anyway, something I thought was very interesting about this change, when I yet again retroactively seeing this in retrospect, is that there is probably a reason why I have tended to drift towards more of decent human beings, decent practice of just being a good person videos. And that is, this is going to be such a long anecdote, but some context, right? When I was a kid, I didn't play football. I didn't play any sort of sports when I was like really small, which meant that I personally viewed myself and sort of put myself outside of the general group I was a part of. This was about when I was in first to sixth grade, let's say. But it wasn't that big of a deal. I still had friends, multiple friends. Everybody were friends at that age. Everybody hanged out with anybody. Everybody was supportive and positive. It wasn't anything bad by that standard. However, the problems really started to emerge since I had this sort of perspective that I built up myself, that I'm part of outside, which also made it harder to be a part of the group. I tried to make a change and a transition towards going into junior high, so let's say 7th to 9th grade. And that was, I was trying so desperately to get attention, to actually be noticed, that I was just doing stupid things. And when I'm talking stupid, right, we're talking like the most untasteful, racially insensitive jokes that there could ever be, that I heard throughout my youth. That sounds like I was hearing them a lot and all the time. No, but occasionally I heard stuff like that, and then I just tended to repeating those at school, because I wanted some form of reaction. I wanted to be, even if people were mad at me, I wanted to be part of the group, so to say. I was desperate about it. And the problem when something along those lines happen, when you go through life and you realize that wasn't the best way to go, as I noticed in high school, when I was realizing, you might not need to be a bad a bad person in order to be a part of a group. You can be a decent human being and just a fun guy, and then people will naturally say, hey, be a part of our group, which was tended to happen. However, all of those people that I met, or rather that I met when I was in junior high, but that I haven't had the occasion to meet up with afterwards, they can't see that I've made this personal development. And all of us did, right? I mean, all of you out there, this is probably something that we can all relate to. All of us were different people when we were younger. Something that is probably a general statement is that everybody thought that they were weird, insecure, and, just bloody stupid when we were younger, because we were pulling these pranks, we were learning about how our bodies worked, and there was all this hormone changes in our bodies, and we didn't know what was right or wrong, so we tended to step on those edges in order to realize what was right or wrong. And some of us did it more than others, so to say. But anyway, the problem is that most of those people I went to school with are now vastly different people. The only, just as I am. I'm very opposite towards sort of the jokes that I made in high school and, in junior high, for instance, right? Just one of many things that have been a character trait of development from my side. But the problem is that you don't tend to meet those people anymore, right, for the rest of your life, which sort of means that whenever you think back to that part in your life, that time in your life, even though you've come to realize that I've actually made a conscious change to who I am, I've been developing, I was just stupid back then, people who don't know you now don't have that insight. And sure, I can't judge anyone from my junior high, from my high school or whatever today by the standards of what they were doing 3, 5, 6, 10 years ago. That would be absolutely ludicrous, right? But still people tend to do that, especially when you get back in groups. So if I were to meet up with them, I can imagine that we would just fall into the same sort of roles that we played back then, even though we have all developed and taken different courses in life ever since. And that is probably because when you see different people, you sort of just roll back into the same sort of context, the same sort of framework, because you're more secure in that framework, because you know that it have worked once back in, who knows how many years ago. Which is a problem. So it's what I probably try to emphasize here is to give people another chance when you meet them and realize that, well, people have probably developed just as much as you and I have, right, since we were 15, 16. It's just it's just natural that would happen, right? Anyway, mates. What I'm trying to say is probably something along the lines of that my videos have changed because somewhere subconsciously I probably want people to, even though we live in a global age where it's an internet era where it's so easy to actually just reach out to people and meet up. It's been easier than it's ever been before, right? Ever in the history of humanity. It's never been as simple to, or as easy to just get in contact with people that you used to hang out with 10, 15 years ago and make a group out of it, maybe on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever, right, and meet up. It's never been as easy as it is now, and still, I would still, try and make this, all of these videos just showing off the growth that I've had, sort of redefining the standpoints I have on some things like, can you joke about racism, for instance? Now, I'm of the firm belief that you can joke about anything, but I think and I really believe that I put out my thoughts about what is right and wrong in many of the videos I've put out since, let's say, video 150, 175, something like that. So it's still a lot of videos, basically, just talking about how to be a decent human being, especially if you sort of read between the lines and look at the subcontext of what I'm actually talking about and how I go about talking about different problems. And that is because even though it is so easy, so vastly easy to get in contact with people, I still have this in the back of my mind that if I won't be able to ever meet them, at least I will have all of these videos presenting my personal growth, and I can sort of showcase that to the people who, used to know me and have a preemptive assumption of how I probably am right now, and they can look at those videos and be like, you know what, he's a decent human being, he's probably even a good human being after all, not as presented by myself back in the day when I was really I was going to say insecure, but that's also true. But insecure and insensitive, just because I really wanted that sort of form of reaction, because I, rather have people scream at me than ignoring me, right? That was sort of my motto back in the day, even though I probably didn't know it at that point. But it's easy to see retrospectively that that was the case. But we've all grown since then. I realize this is just me combating my demons from a past time. Maybe not the best celebrative video ever for 350 milestone mark, but for me it is, because these videos that I've done as of late sort of reflect my point of views that I have in many social contexts. The sort of thing of what is right and wrong, and sort of showcase that. And it will be very easy, and you know who you are, the people who used to hang out with me a very long time ago, to see that, oh yeah, you've definitely changed, mate. Even your native language well, I was gonna say even your native language has changed, and then I mispronounced language. I know, it's brilliant. Not even the joke worked. Anyway, I think that the main sort of point of view that the main point I want to get across probably got across. What I'm trying to say here in the end, as I've said several times this video already, give sure to make people, give people not a second chance, because that would be wrong. Most people you used to know 10 years ago are vastly different people today. So it wouldn't be giving them a second chance. It would be presenting them to the person they are now, because they're not at all the same person as they used to be. I believe in that people can change, just because I'm probably one of the spectacles and one of the pure examples of someone who has gone through dramatic and radical change over the last 10 years, which I would argue that everybody has done who has gone through puberty and their teenage years and hopefully made it out on the other side. But it's just that, it's probably easier to say that from your own point of view, because everybody would argue that they haven't gone through a major change, or most people would probably do that. Anyway, I'm rambling on. 350 videos, woo, cheers mates. It's a huge milestone. I can't really believe that I am here right now with the sort of specs and sort of gadgets that I have right now. It's just such a mind-boggling experience to be standing here and making this video. As I said, for someone who didn't think I was going to make it past 5 videos, and if I did, find the motivation to actually keep going. But turns out I rather like doing these things. So yeah, cheers. Being creative, it's a good thing. Go and check the Imagination Project, by the way. Talking about being creative. I don't know how to end this video. There was so much unpacked. Deal with your demons. Make sure that you have an open mind towards friends that you have from your past time in life, and if you meet them, don't judge them based on what you don't know about them, because you probably don't know anything about them anymore, because they're probably entirely new people. And if only the population as a whole could have that perspective when meeting new people, not being preemptively assumptuous about what things, what they're supposed to do or what they're not supposed to do. Avoid stereotypes and so on and so forth. We would probably live in a more sort of semi-inefficient world, but also probably a much better world than the one we do right now. And when I say semi-inefficient, I mean probably would be slower progress without stereotypes, especially from a marketing and business point of view. Studied it, I'm scarred by it, right? Traumatized by studying economics. Anyway, mates, let's say that we end it with a normal, have a nice one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.